Hello everyone. On my craft table today, I have a tutorial for making this beautiful seed bead chain. It is lightweight, quick and easy to do, and it has got multiple uses. So the beauty of this is that one, I have not used any metal clasps at all. So I've used just a bead and a loop as the closure for this, just to keep it simple and not to use any metal parts. And you can use this wear this in multiple ways, so you can even wear it in the front like this, and your bead component can be hanging in the front like this too, or just push it up a little bit to give it a wrapped necklace look, or even a little bit higher, which will look like a choker. Or you could even style it in any way, like like you can move this to the side, and that will give you a completely different style. So now let's move on with making the chain. So this is what I'm doing, and this is the colors that I've chosen for today. One is purple and the other is green with some silver in between. So this is the sample piece that I had made to check out if the colors work well together. And here you can see in some of them I've added golden color accent beads, and in some of them I've used silver. So after working with gold and silver accent beads, I found that silver suits better for this. So I'm going ahead with the silver, or it is kind of a transparent color. This is size 8 seed bead in purple, and this is also size 8 seed bead in green. And this is like a transparent or like a kind of a whitish color, and this is size 10. And it is not a very good quality bead, but not very consistent in size, but it works for this. The thread I'm using is Nymo beading thread size D, and the needle is size 10. And I've taken a comfortable length of thread because throughout the project we'll have to be adding more thread whenever necessary. Begin by picking up 4 beads on your needle, bring it down, leave about 3 or 4 inches of tail, and then we are going to knot it up like this. So just overhand knot like that to make it into a small square like this. So when you pull it, see the beads will sit in like a square. And I made one knot, make another knot also, and make sure that the knots don't fall on the beads. So it should be exactly where you knotted the first one. Now leave the tail aside and pick up your needle with the thread, your working thread. And this thread you see is coming out of the knot. So first, to begin, we have to take the needle inside one of the beads, any one of them. So it can be either on the left side or on the right side. You brought the bead up now. Now pick up one of the accent bead. That is, I'll call it the white bead. Pick up the white bead and pass your needle through the adjacent bead. Again one more white, and same, pass it through the next adjacent bead. So we'll do the same thing on all the 4 sides. So 2 sides are done. Now we are going to add the 4th bead here. So this completes one unit. Okay, like this we are going to add many units to make it into a chain. So after completing this one unit, you see the thread is coming out of one of the purple beads. Now instead of going into the white bead, you will have to pass your needle through the purple bead. There is no bead on the needle. You haven't picked up any beads. Just the needle, pass it through the purple bead and also the white bead that's next to it. And when you pull, make sure that you pull it tight and it's not the thread is not caught up anywhere. So this completes one unit. For the second unit, we'll be picking up the next color. And what I noticed was, see, excuse me, let's go back to what I was telling you. So now pick 4 beads of green, and the thread you see is coming out of the other end, that is on the left side of the white color bead. Now you are going to insert the needle from the right to the left. So that makes it another beginning of another unit. I'm just turning it over to this side so that it's easy for me to work. Now you will just bring your needle out from the first bead on that, the one that you added. There's no bead, that you did not add extra beads, you just brought out the needle. Now add a white bead in between these two. Again one more in between the excuse me, next two, and the third one will go here. And for the last one, that bead is shared between the first and the second unit, as you can see. So you will have to pass your needle through the white bead that we are sharing with the first unit. This completes unit number 2. And like we did earlier, you're going to pass your needle through both the green and avoiding the white. So just this green and the green and the white that you see there. Okay, that's the center for the next unit. So you're going to pass through 2 beads now. And by doing so, we are ready to put on the next unit. The next unit will be purple color. So what I was telling you was alternating the colors gives a good effect for this chain especially. I tried with a single color, but the flowers, or the units don't look as pretty as when it is double color like this. Okay, and the stitch continues like this. It's a very easy stitch, and in no time you'll be able to make a lovely chain. And it continues like this, the same way. So let me just speed up a little bit so that we can get to the other parts of the chain. And this can be worked in any size bead, not necessarily 8 and 11. It can be worked in any size, 2 sizes of beads. See, now I finished 4 units like this. And it will continue like this till the length that you want. In this part, I am going to show you how to end the thread and add new thread. So to end the thread, you see when you finish one unit and you have to move up to start the next unit, instead of moving up, you will have to move down, because we want to end the thread and add new thread. That is when the thread is ending, you will want to finish it. So you have to move downwards in the same thread path that you worked your stitches. Now if you look closely at what I am doing, you will be able to see you come down in the same path, and in some places where you can easily see the thread bridge, that is the thread between both the beads, you insert your needle there and pull until you have a small loop at the end. So pass your needle through that loop and pull it, and that's a knot. So that's one knot that you have made. and continue again in the same direction of the stitches. See, now after coming down both the green beads, I have passed my needle through the white bead, and now again you can either go down or make a knot here also. So if you want to make a knot here, you can make a knot, or go down one or two steps and then make the next knot. So I've decided to make a knot here. Yeah, I wasn't able to make the knot there, so I'm moving ahead now. So passing through both the purple beads and trying to find a place to place my next knot. Okay, so here is a place where I can place my next knot. So make a small loop like this and place your knot there. And again continue working downwards. So like this, at least 2 times if you have made the knot, it is enough. Or if you feel that you want to strengthen it a little more, you can go down one or two stitches again and make another knot or so, and then finish your thread. So here you see I'm making the third knot here. And then we'll continue, and please remember, after making the knot, don't cut your thread immediately. You pass through a few beads and then you will cut your thread. So this adding thread and finishing the thread has to be very neat. Only then your finished chain or necklace or any beadwork that you're doing will look neat. So you have to take some time and do it very neatly. So once you have happy with the knots that you made, now you can trim off that thread. And in this next part, I'm going to show you how to add new thread. Adding new thread is actually the reverse of how you are ending the thread. So now we are going to begin adding the thread about 2 or 3 units from where down the chain line. Instead of adding just where you ended your unit, we are going to add the new thread at least 2 or 3 units down below. Bring your new thread from any one of out from any one of the beads, and you are just going to mimic the same stitch that we made earlier, but we are only not going to be adding beads. Instead, in some places wherever feasible, we are going to add 1 or 2 knots. So the thread direction or the thread path will be the same as your stitch, but without any beads. So now, since there is a small place here where I can add my knot. So I'm going to make a knot here. So under any thread bridge you can add your knot. So you can do that. It's not necessary that you have to do it in only certain places. As and when you feel comfortable, at least try to make 2 knots at least before you reach the position where you're going to begin your next unit. See, I can make another knot here. So I am passing my needle under the thread there, and when it forms a small loop, I pass my needle into the loop and a knot will be formed like this. So preferably your knots can be on either side of the beadwork. Either side, I mean on the left and on the right. Instead of keeping all the knots to one side, you can just make the knots on both the sides. By the sides, I don't mean the up and the down. I'm telling about the left and the right side. Okay, because up and down both will be same, both will look similar. And now after I've made two knots, I'm satisfied with that. So I'm bringing my needle to the starting position now where I need to start the next unit. Okay, so I've reached the unit. So if you have noticed, this is just the reverse of how we end the thread. So this is adding thread. And now your tail thread can be cut off because we don't need it anymore. Now you're ready to add the next unit now. So in this next section, I'll show you how to add the bead clasp. See, this is the clasp that I have and that I'm going to show you. It can be any, the bead can be any size, of course. So this is the bead and the loop for that. Okay. So in your finished piece of necklace, after you have stitched the length that you want, I am going to show it in a sample piece, but you will be doing it on your necklace or on your chain that you have made. Pick up two either purple or green color bead. That is, you will take the size 8 bead, the bigger beads. Take two of them, and now take your bead that you're going to use for the closure. So here I have chosen almost a transparent color fire polish bead, and then I have also picked up one size 8 bead in green color, and after that I am passing my needle down through the fire polish bead, that is the big bead, and also one of the purple beads. So this green one stays on the top like that. After bringing it down, now if you notice, when we started making this upward journey to add the big bead, if you see here, if you see the thread is coming on the left of that white color bead. Okay, now when you are going to pass the needle, now your needle should go from the right to the left. So I picked up one purple bead now, first two, and one fire polish, one green. Now after coming down, I picked up only one purple color bead, and now I am going to pass my needle from the, see, skip one purple bead and pass the needle from the right to the left like this. When you do that, see, your bead will be placed in a position it should be placed in a position like this. And now what is left is just to reinforce the same thing at least 2 or 3 times, because this is a high traffic area where you will be removing the clasp and putting it on. So it needs a lot of reinforcement. So you can do it 3 times or even 4 times if the size of the bead hole is able to hold the thread. You can even do it 4 times also. So it's the same path again. We are just going to do the stitching over and over again just to make it nice and sturdy. No adding beads anywhere at all, only the thread, and in the same direction that you added when we started doing this. Okay, come down that big bead and one of the purple color bead, and then down one of the purple, which is right down on the right side. Pass your needle through the white bead again. So this is like a figure 8, going up and coming down is like a figure 8 direction. And now again go up like that and come down in the next other direction. Okay, so more than, I think if you see the visual, you will be able to better understand than what I'm trying to explain. Maybe my choice of words may not be so correct. So if you look at the visuals, you'll understand. I'm going down. This is the third or a fourth time, I can't remember. So now when it is done, now we have to finish our thread like how we finish the thread always. So go down 1 or 2 units, make knots in places wherever possible, like at least 1 or 2 knots, and then you will be done. You can cut off the thread after. Now to add the loop for this closure. Okay, so we have made the closure, the bead closure on one side. Now to add the loop on the other side. So on the other side, I've added new thread here because there won't be any thread on the side that you started, right? So here I'm going to I've added new thread and I'm going to make the loop. So the loop that I make, it should fit the bead that we have already made on one side of the chain. So the number of beads that we pick up here depends on the size of the bead that you have added for the closure. So you can add a bead, you can add a button or anything fancy which you think will make a good closure. You can use any of them. I have used a small bead for this because it's a small chain. So first I'm picking up some number of beads just to check and see whether this is enough loop for the bead to pass through. So I'm going to check it like this. So just hold it like a loop like this and try to pass the bead through this hole. Yeah, so see, this seems tight now. So what we'll do is pick up more beads and then check again. So now after picking up a little more beads, couple of more beads, I can see that it fits in properly. So this is what you should also be doing for the closure that you choose. And once again, before we proceed and close this up, because we don't want it too loose or too tight, so before we do that, we have to check it once again. So see, you can check it again like this also. Move your beads a little front in the thread and hold it like this, like a loop. Hold it tight like that and try to pass your closure into the loop like this. Hold it tight. If you're holding it loose, then it makes no sense because anyway the bead will be able to pass through. So hold it tight like that and see that, give it a push like this, and if the bead passes through, then you're good. So make sure it's not too tight or it's not too loose. So before you finish this loop, make sure that you're really sure that the loop is correct for the closure that you have chosen. The thread is coming out from the left of the white color bead. So now you will have to pass your needle from the right to the left to make it into a loop like this. Here you see I've made the loop and I'm going back through all the beads at least 2 or 3 times again to reinforce it. So there's no big working detail here. We are just making the loop and we are going in circles to reinforce it. At least 3 or 4 times is good enough because this is size 8 bead. The bead holes will be big. At least 4 times you can go around because the bead hole will fit the thread. Sometimes if the bead hole is small, you can't do many passes, but here in this one, you can do at least 4 passes. You just go in rounds and round to reinforce it. And remember that you have to pass through the white bead also at all times. So we are not passing only through the beads that we added for the loop. Each time you have to pass through the white bead also because that is the anchor for the loops, right? And once you are satisfied with that, again, what we will do is we will wind up this thread, or to wind up this thread, what should we do? Like how I taught you earlier, you will go down the chain of 3 or 4 units and then make sufficient knots. See, before that, let's check whether it is correct now. So give it a little push, it will be like this. So yeah, but this is perfect. So I can't, this number of beads does not matter for you because you could be using any other bead and any other closure. So I'm not telling you about how many beads I added for the loop. I'm going through all of them once again before I finish the thread. After going past the white bead, now I'm going go down and finish the thread after making 2 or 3 knots. Okay, so with that your necklace or bracelet is complete. Thank you for watching. Happy beading.